Even though, as Americans, we've lost confidence in so many of our judicial institutions, the FBI, the prosecution, the cops, look at their behavior, for example, in the Capitol, look at the Capitol Police in the January 6th case. The prison system, look at the way that those guys have been abusing what clearly are now political prisoners in January 6th. And the media, utterly corrupt and twisted in its presentation of facts. Now, the question is, can we still trust juries? And this has been a little bit of an open question. In fact, Debbie and I were having conversations on this very issue when the jury was deliberating. Remember, they deliberated almost 3 days in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And there obviously were one, maybe more, holdouts in the jury. At that time, we didn't even know holdouts in what direction. But it seems like the Rittenhouse case and in the Ahmaud Arbery case, that in both cases, justice was in fact served. And served also in both cases by a multiracial jury. Now, here is the Democrat, and I say Democrat slightly in quotation marks, Tulsi Gabbard, who has been sounding more and more conservative lately, and probably is about time she were to vault over to the Republican Party. She's too sensible to be a Democrat anymore. But here she's talking about the verdicts both in Rittenhouse and Arbery. Listen.
So the jury in the Arbery case got the verdict right today, just like the jury got the verdict right in the Rittenhouse case. These jurors are our peers. They're our fellow Americans. And these verdicts show in both these cases how these jurors had the intelligence and the honesty to make the right decision based on examining evidence and facts, not based on race or politics. So these examples directly undermine the woke narrative that Americans are stupid and racist.
Now, I think this is dead on. In the Rittenhouse case, by the way, there were 11 white jurors and 1 black juror. And so the media didn't want to highlight the black juror, of course, because it would make a multiracial jury. They kept pretending that this was sort of a overwhelmingly white jury. Now, it is worth noting that this was a predominantly female jury. So it was really a jury mostly made up of white women. But let's turn for a minute to the Arbery case, where you also had 11 white and 1 black juror. And think about it. The 11 whites signed off on the fact that this gang of 3, a father, son, and associate, if you will, were in fact guilty of murder in the Arbery killing. So the jury, it appears, has done something that might have seemed not impossible, but difficult in a divided America. Debbie, in fact, in the Rittenhouse case, was kind of expecting a hung jury. Not even so much because of the racial factor. She's like, look, we're in a divided country. Even in blue America, you have red people. You have red people in blue America. So whatever the makeup of a jury, it's going to have a mix of Republicans and Democrats. And we see the world so differently these days. How can we look at this, even the same set of facts, pull people in radically different directions, at least when politics is involved, as it clearly is in both these cases. But nevertheless, remarkably, the jury, and I think the prosecution in Rittenhouse was hoping, listen, if we can't get him, on first-degree murder, the jury surely is going to get him on something lesser charges, reckless endangerment. But no, in case after case, and with all the defendants, the jury went not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. And by contrast, in the Arbery case, guilty, guilty, guilty. So I think this is actually a hopeful sign that juries are able, despite their political differences, which are undoubtedly real, to be able to zoom into the facts of a case, apply the law to the case, and come up with a consensus, even if it takes 3 days, to come up with a consensus that this is what happened, this is the way in which it does or does not violate the law. And that, I think, is a hopeful sign in this politically divided America.